everyone, and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And I'm stepping outside the box in this episode simply because I'm excited that I got a chance to try these fantastic wines last night with a friend of mine I referred to as Dionysus. Respect his privacy, but he is a very generous person who likes to share from his wine cellar, and I got an opportunity to be a part of that last night. He opened up a bunch of great wines, and these are two that he let me take with me, which I'm very appreciative of and stunned that he did that, but that's the kind of person he is. So this is a new project by Harlan Estates, fairly new. It's called Promontory Wines. It's the Napa Valley territory, 2009 and 2010, back-to-back vintages. We had an opportunity to taste them slowly through the evening. There were about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of us drinking the wines, and we got an opportunity to see the difference between these two vintages, which was very exciting. As a wine person, I always appreciate it when vintages vary, and that is because they don't have it all dialed in. They express the vintage. Some wineries don't do that. They have a certain formula like they plug in to make sure that from year to year that wine tastes the same. That's okay too. I understand that, as we all do. You know, people like consistency, and so they look for those wines that they know are going to taste the same year in and year out. But as wine geeks as we are, and I know a lot of you are that watch this, you like it when the winemaker lets the vintage show through. And that's what they did with these Harlan Promontory wines. And you'll see that as I taste through them. I'm not going to mention the price on these. You have to be in the Harlan Wine Club. You have to be fairly wealthy to be able, well, not wealthy necessarily, but you have to have a lot of discretionary income to be able to afford these wines. And, you know, the price doesn't matter. I'm just going to go through them, taste them. Hopefully you can get a sense of what these are about. You may have read about them before. You can look them up online if you'd like, just to get an idea what they're about. But Bill Harlan had his eye on this vineyard up in the higher altitude of Napa Valley, and he finally got a hold of it, and believe it or not, only released, I believe he released the 09 just recently and the 2010. He wanted to hold them back, let them age in the bottle before he gave them out to his wine club. And, you know, I'm happy to be a chance to try this. This is a 2009 Promontory Cabernet Sauvignon, primarily Cabernet Sauvignon. And here is the label. You always got to dig these Harlan labels. They're very understated, but they're very cool labels. 2009. All right. These have been open for a day, which is really cool. I like that about them. I hate to rinse my glass, but I'm going to just in case there's something in it. I didn't really have to use that much wine. Okay. The color on these is absolutely amazing. Hopefully I can show you. It's just very dark, 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 dark in the glass. So, as you can figure out already, I kind of developed an opinion about these wines last night, but I still want to see how they evolved, how they developed over a day. So let's see what we get on the nose. Just like Kirsch, I mean, just really powerful on the nose. Something's coming through that didn't come through last night. I'm getting a little greenness. I'm getting a little vegetation on the nose, which I always like, especially in Cabernet Sauvignon. That goes back to the 70s and 80s when they used to, all of the cabs had that kind of vegetal character on the nose. Get a lot of cherries. Currants, I get a little bit of them. Get a little mint character coming through. There's even a little hint of baking spice that I really like. You can smell the oak somewhat on it. It settled down a little bit on that first blast of this like kirsch liqueur came through, and it was just amazing. Get a touch of cinnamon. I like that. Let's see what we get on the palate. Last night I really liked this because it was a little bit tight. It's still showing its youth. I mean, hard to believe, 2009. Well, not hard to believe, but it's 2009. Still showing its youth. By the way, shout out to the Hawks. We're almost there. We're almost to football season. We're going to be interested in seeing how they develop this year with Rawls taking the lead as running back. And it's going to be exciting. I have a strong feeling they'll be in the Super Bowl again. Good tannic structure. I like that. Currants, leather coming through in spades, and you get a little bit of that oak influence underneath, but it's not over oaked. Has great balance. Leather, currants, get a little bit of tobacco. Pretty amazing wine. Really a lot grippier on the finish than it was last night. Kind of closing up a little bit, which is really cool. If you're into that kind of wine geek nerdy thing like I can be sometimes, that's a cool thing. That means this wine is still evolving. That means this wine is going to open up. I'd say right now, I get a little heat on the back end. I never did look at the alcohol content on this. I really hate to make you. This is 14.5. But not a lot. It's just a well-structured, well-integrated wine. Little herky-jerky on the backside, but that's not a big deal. That will evolve eventually into a really great wine. This baby has easily 10 more years before it's going to, 5 to 10 years, it'll open up immensely. Lots of licorice. I mean, I didn't mention that earlier, but there's a lot of licorice on this. And just that grip on the backside. Really serious grip action. I wish you guys could be here tasting with me. I really would. I would let anybody that comes my way taste this wine just to get an idea. It's too bad it is a very expensive wine. And, you know, it's too bad a lot of us can't get our hands on it. But, that being said, this is definitely in the A to A plus range. It's got that structure. I can see this one developing really well. Even now, it's really good. You have to have food with this right now. You have to have like a good steak, like we had last night. Would be perfect with this wine, and it will, it'll break down some of those tannins that are in there, and really make this wine a lot better. I wish I had a piece of cheese right now. I could show you that, but it's true. Yeah, great bottle of wine. Even a little bit of barbecue spice right on the backside. I'm still tasting the wine, which is very impressive. I'm going to go A plus on that. Just an excellent effort. Very powerful wine, very well structured. I like it a lot. Let's go on. So this is a 2010 Promontory Cabernet Sauvignon from Harlan Estates. Labels exactly the same. I just want to get you a peek of these. They're really cool labels. I like them a lot. All right. I'm just going to give this a tiny rinse. They were different last night. I mean, they did, like my friend said, they taste like Harlan wines, but they're different. They show vintage, which is, like I said, really cool. Once again, the color on this is very amazing. Once again, amazing color. I mean, I just like the extraction of this one. Very, very evident. Good fruit. One of the reasons why you have to pay more for wine is the quality of the fruit, the new barrels, all of that factor into it. And of course, it's a cult wine, so the wine club only. There's a whole marketing thing behind that. Just making it hard to get, making it very few bottles given to the people in the wine club. Just kind of makes the price even higher. Thumbs up for marketing for these guys. Let's see what we get on the nose. Once again, that greenness comes through on this. Did not get that last night. Find that very interesting. A little bit of green tobacco. Vegetation. A little bit of oak coming through. Definitely getting the currants. This one has a little bit of bittersweet chocolate coming through, which I appreciate. A little bit of a bark, really interesting bark notes coming through, like like beauty, not beauty bark, like old bark on a tree, just like the older bark. Even getting a hint of blueberries, which I find very interesting. Let's see what we get on the palate. This has a little bit more grip than it did last night. It was much more open knit last night. Very curious about that. This shows this is a little more seamless on the palate. This 10 is by far ready to drink ahead of the 09, which is interesting. More integrated than the 09, but the finish is just a little smoother. Not as grippy. This one is loaded with chocolate tones to it, black currants, tobacco. Licorice. I even get a little bit of that on the back of the mid palate. I get a little bit of that blueberry. This one has more grip on the backside, and tobacco. And it's like tobacco mixed with currants, mixed with chocolate, with a little bit of bark action coming through on the finish. This has what both of these wines have what we call layers. In other words, you could taste this over and over again and you just get more elements coming through on your palate as you think about it. And that's really one of those things that a lot of wine drinkers don't get to do, is taste these wines, and that's really sad in a lot of ways. But there's a lot of great wines around for under 50 bucks, as we know, and some that have those layers that we're looking for, and those are the ones that I really am excited to find and share with you. But I really want to share this, both very vintage specific. That's a great thing for a winery. I just want you to know that. I know you probably like wines that are consistently the same every year, year in and year out, but start looking for wineries that express vintage. In other words, not all vintages are excellent. Like 10, based on this, 10 was probably a warmer year than 9, perhaps. This is higher elevation, so it's a little cooler site for Napa Valley. This shows more sunshine on it. Same sort of flavor profiles. 9, I didn't get nearly, or if any, chocolate. This shows a little blue fruit, which is very cool. And it still tastes, they have, you can tell they're related. You can tell they're brothers, but one's a football player, one's a ballerina. I mean, I guess that's not a really good metaphor, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. They're related, but they're different in their interests, and that's what's cool about vintage expression. And these guys do it, and I really appreciate that. This one has a lot of licorice too. I like the grip on the backside. Actually, last night I was liking the 09 a little better because of the potential of that wine. This one is showing what the 09 will be maybe in 3 years, and this one in 3 years will just be a lot smoother, a lot more seamless. It's seamless now, but you won't see any of that grippiness on the backside. And that blue fruit, I like that quality in the 10. I hate to say it. No, I don't hate to say it. I mean, just to be honest, this is an AA plus wine also. They're both equally as good in different ways. And that's very cool about wine. is that you can have entirely different wines, entirely different flavors, and they're both just as good. And once you train your palate to understand that and appreciate that, you've taken a step in the right direction as a wine drinker. Now, the price may just like, is there any wine worth this? If you have the money, yes. If you don't, no. I mean, the saying, it's like you shouldn't ever buy a wine that's outside your budget. But if this is in your budget, get your hands on some, because it is really fantastic wine. Thank you, Dionysus, and thanks for watching. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.